Hello and a very warm welcome to Kate Middleton and the Queen. The fourth piece was published in the Daily Mirror on November 11th of 2000 with the headline, Snap, Harry Breaks Thumb Like William, exclusive. So according to this piece, Harry had chipped a bone in his thumb and he had to undergo a minor operation after an accident that he experienced during a game of football. And Harry is claiming that he found the level of detail in that story surprising, and he suspected the palace had been approached for comment instead of being a source. But MGN is maintaining that the information was already in the public domain and had been repeatedly reported the day before that. Well, it sounds like MGN knew what they were talking about in this case because the judge said that Harry's claim was hopeless because the content was already released by St. James's Palace in a media briefing. Why does Harry even bother with these cases that he's clearly going to lose? What gets me about all of this is that Harry is the one who has already admitted that his memory is not all that reliable, that it just does what it does, and it may or may not match so-called objective reality, as he calls it. So why does he think it's appropriate to file a lawsuit against MGN when he doesn't have any real evidence? All he has is his pretty faulty memory to rely on. But anyway, let's move on to the next case. So the next case was published in the Sunday Mirror on November 11th of 2001. Headline, Rugger Off Harry. This article detailed an injury that Harry had suffered while he was playing polo. The result of this injury was that he had to stop playing rugby. And Harry has said that the article is brazen, and he attributes some details to a mysterious, unnamed royal source, in spite of the fact that there wasn't any comment from the palace. But MGN is maintaining that the information in fact came from a confidential Eton source. There is no evidence whatsoever of unlawful information gathering, but again, Harry believes it's the other side's responsibility to prove that they didn't gather the information unlawfully. Harry, that is not the way lawsuits work. Well, it shouldn't shock anybody that the judge decided this was also a loss for Harry. The judge said, news about rugby injury is the sort of information that a 17-year-old keen sportsman would be likely to share with his schoolmates. Of course, everybody at Eton knew about that. I mean, come on. Items 6 and 7 deal with the same issue. So the first article was run in the Sunday Mirror back in January of 2002. The headline was Harry Took Drugs and Cool It Harry. And there was another one in the Mirror on January 14th of 2002 with Harry's cocaine, ecstasy, and GHB parties. So in the first article, it contained allegations that Harry had smoked marijuana. And Harry claimed that while it was a follow-up story to articles in the News of the World, there were invoices regarding his friend Guy Pelly and people connected to the story at the time. MGN, of course, denied any unlawful information gathering. Instead, they claimed that news agencies, a freelance journalist, and a source were paid for the articles. And then the other article was a front-page story, actually, alleging that some of Harry's friends had taken hard drugs right in front of him, including ecstasy, cocaine, and GHB. And it also reported that Harry's father, the then Prince of Wales, was terrified. So Harry claimed in his evidence, it is not clear to me where the defendant's journalists could have possibly obtained these quotes from. MGN, of course, maintains, though, that they didn't engage in any unlawful activity, and they also claim there is no evidence of phone hacking. The judge actually ruled in Harry's favor on these two incidents. The judge said that voicemail interception of the Duke's associates probably took place, though not of the Duke himself. So even though this one is certainly a win for Harry, I would still argue that it's not 100% a win in his favor, because even the judge acknowledges that Harry's phone was probably not hacked. It was probably a friend's. The next article came from the Daily Mirror on March 29th of 2002. The headline, Harry's sick with kissing disease. It was detailing Harry's diagnosis of mononucleosis or glandular fever and claimed that he was being made fun of by his friends and his brother. So Harry has alleged that he doesn't know how anybody outside the family knew this, and he believes the palace responded to information that was put to them. But MGN is claiming that the information was discreetly released by the palace to avoid extra attention on the royals while they were on vacation. The judge decided to rule against Harry in this one, and he lost. The judge said, quote, seems likely that it was St. James's Palace spokeswoman who first put the information into the public domain. So no, there was no phone hacking involved in this one. Next article was No Eton Trifles for Harry 18, published in the Daily Mirror on September 16th of 2002. The article detailed how Harry spent his 18th birthday, including lunch with his family. MGN is saying they got the information from an interview with the Press Association for Harry's 18th birthday. But Harry's claiming that he was obliged to give the interview, and he described it as an ideal occasion for anyone listening into my messages to continue to do so. Well, that claim didn't make a whole lot of sense, so naturally, the judge did not rule in Harry's favor. He lost on that one. The next piece was run in The People on April 20th, 2003. It was describing how Harry was asked to be the godfather to the nephew of his former nanny, Tiggy Leg Borg. Matured Harry is a godfather was the headline. So Harry's claiming he has no idea where quotes from a royal insider about Charles's opinions on the matter came from. And he's claiming that MGN must have hacked his former nanny's or his partner's phone. But no, MGN has said the piece was a rewrite of a Sunday Telegraph column sold by a freelance journalist, and guess what? The judge agreed with MGN. He said, obvious from the phraseology, that the Daily Telegraph's Mandrake column was in fact the source. The next one also made me chuckle because it's absolutely ridiculous for Harry to claim that it was a result of unlawful information gathering. So the title is Harry to Lead Cadets March. It was published in the Daily Mirror on April 29th of 2003. The article goes into detail about Harry being given the role of parade commander at the Combined Cadet Force Tattoo at Eton. And Harry is claiming that the article's author is known to have commissioned private investigators. And he says that at least one of the articles is an admitted example of unlawful information gathering. But MGN is saying no, the information was already released by St. James's Palace, and that's where they got it from. Well, the judge ruled against Harry on this one, too. The judge even said that Harry accepted the article was no more than a composite version of the Palace announcement and the Press Association report. Honestly, does he realize how stupid he comes across claiming that they hacked his phone and then they remind him that that information was already in the public domain and his response is basically, oh yeah. We're already up to number 12 with only a few wins. So the next one is Harry is ready to quit Oz. It was published in the Daily Mirror on September 27th of 2003. It's a page 7 story reporting that Harry was considering leaving his gap year in Australia because of the press. Harry is claiming that evidence shows that MGN was paying to have him watched. The piece describes that he was inside watching videos, and the publisher claims the information came from press statements by Clarence House, and it also showed up in other outlets as well. Again, poor Harry lost this one. The judge ruled that Harry's claim is hopeless because the source was the palace briefing Harry's own companion in Australia. Oh, Harry, maybe if your memory were a little more reliable, you wouldn't make yourself look like such a fool. The next piece was again focusing on Chelsea Davy. So this was published in The People, April 24th, 2005, Chelsea's Gap, EIIR. This article is claiming that Chelsea was taking a gap year from her studies to be with her young royal lover, they wrote. Harry's claiming the level of detail in that story is, quote, disturbing, and also that copies of Chelsea and Harry's phone records were obtained. But MGN is maintaining that the info came from a news agency, that there's no evidence whatsoever of phone hacking, and that the details in the article were not even important. They called them, quote, trivial. Well, the judge decided that, in fact, Harry should win this one. The judge said it seems obvious that someone has had access to phone records and voicemails, too, to be able to report on this. But again, it sounds like it wasn't even Harry's phone that was hacked. It was Chelsea's. But is Chelsea going to see a penny from the money that comes from this case? Absolutely not. The next one is an interesting one. So this was published in The People on May 15th of 2005. Harry Carey is the name of the article. And it's pretty easy to see why Harry was upset about this article. Remember, he pictures himself as this real-life G.I. Joe. Harry believes that his time in the military was when he was the most successful. But this article brings all of that into question because it talks about Harry being let off the runs after hurting his knee. The story claims that cadets at Sandhurst were, quote, furious because Harry didn't have to run like they did. And Harry claims that he was, quote, not going around freely discussing any medical issues or injuries. And he claims the info definitely came from unlawful information gathering. But MGN is saying that a lot of it came from a confidential source, and there is no evidence whatsoever of any phone hacking. The judge ruled against Harry on this one. The judge said that Harry could not have reasonable expectation of privacy in relation to his ability to participate in fitness training at the military academy. And again, I'm sure the judge was right about this one. It was probably the other cadets who tipped off the press. It's another case of Harry expecting these details of his life to remain secret when he's pretty open about them. The next one is again centered on Chelsea Davy. So the headline was Shell Shocked. It ran in the People on April 9th of 2006. The article claims that Chelsea, quote, blew her top when she discovered Harry's, quote, boozy evening at a lap dancing club. I mean, honestly, the fact that Harry would want to advertise to the whole world that he even spent a night at a lap dancing club says a lot about who he is as a person. So Harry is claiming that it seems likely that MGN's journalist, quote, had access to one of our phone records to make the story. But MGN is maintaining that there's no evidence of phone hacking, and the info instead came from freelance journalists, one of whom used a confidential source and also a news agency. Harry ended up winning this one. So, according to the judge, the length and content of private phone calls between Harry and Chelsea following his visit to a lap dancing club are, quote, self evidently private in nature. But again, it sounds like it was Chelsea's phone that was hacked, not even Harry's. Harry also does his reputation no favors with this story. I mean, he was supposed to be loyal to Chelsea, and he's out at a lap dancing club. It's interesting how, when you really look at this, you can see a clear pattern emerge. In the pieces where the judge decided that there was unlawful information gathering involved, Chelsea is almost always involved, which makes it sound like Harry's phone may have never even been hacked. It could have been just some friends of his and Chelsea's all along. So the next piece is called Davy Stated, and it ran in the People on September 16th of 2007. The story was all about how Harry's relationship with Chelsea was in crisis after a string of bitter bust-ups. Harry is claiming the info attributed to a palace source was in fact obtained illegally, and that Harry and Chelsea's voicemails were hacked. But MGN is maintaining there's no evidence of phone hacking. Well, it sounds like there was some phone hacking involved. The judge declared that yes, details of fights between Harry and Chelsea were obtained by hacking of their voicemails or their friends' phones, and so Harry won that one. The next piece, I just laughed when I saw the title. The title is Hooray, Harry's Dumped. It ran in the Sunday Mirror on November 11th of 2007. And it was an article all about Harry going on a 2,000-pound vodka binge in a London club after he and Chelsea Davy broke up. So Harry claims that the paparazzi seemed to know exactly where he was, and he is wondering how that article could have known about his fallout with Chelsea. Well, MGN is claiming that the info came from a News of the World story, that in fact there was no phone hacking evidence. They're also insisting they didn't even know if a private investigator invoice related to that article in question. The judge sided with MGN on this one because the judge saw that, yes, the story about Chelsea dumping Harry was first published by the News of the World. Stuff like this makes me wonder about Harry's lawyers. I mean, couldn't they have seen that the news story was first published by News of the World, and shouldn't that mean they shouldn't bother including it? I guess not. The next one, Harry lost again. The title was Down in the Dump, and it ran in the Daily Mirror on November 12th of 2007. So again, it was all about Chelsea and Harry breaking up. Harry told the court that at the time, he and Chelsea were not sharing anything with anyone, and the info could have been obtained through a voicemail. But MGN is saying, no, the information came from previous press reports, and it sounds like MGN was more believable in this one. According to the judge, the report of trial separation of Harry and Chelsea was lazy journalism. They were just copying an article from the Mail on Sunday. There was no way Harry was going to win this one. The next one Harry did win because it sounds like they did hack into Chelsea Davies' voicemail again. The headline was, okay if I drop you off here. It ran in the Sunday Mirror on December 2nd of 2007. The judge decided that the report that Chelsea Davies spent the night at Kensington Palace likely was obtained by voicemail interception. The next one, though, was another case of lazy journalism, according to the judge. The headline was Harry Fear as Mobile is Swiped, and it ran in the Daily Mirror on July 26th of 2008. It was an article focusing on Harry being pickpocketed in Lesotho while he was out partying. But other sources had already run this story, so again, I don't understand why Harry's lawyers agreed to include this piece. The next one is another sore topic for Harry because it deals with him being banned from going back to war in Afghanistan, in spite of the fact that he probably was desperate to return. It ran in the People, and the headline was Soldier Harry's Taliban on September 28th of 2008. Harry claims there's no way they could have gotten the details except through unlawful information gathering. And the judge agreed. The judge said the report of Harry being banned from undertaking a second tour to Afghanistan was likely the result of hacking and unlawful information gathering. The next one, though, is also about Chelsea. The headline was "He just loves boozing and army. She is fed up and is heading home." It ran in the Sunday Mirror on January 25th of 2009, and the judge said, quote, "In this frenzied atmosphere of trying to find out about the breakdown of the relationship, I have little doubt that the newspapers were trying everything they could to get more information." So Harry won this one, and it sounds like in this case they were certainly invading the privacy of both Harry and Chelsea. But again, I do wonder if it was Harry's phone that was hacked, or was it indeed Chelsea's? The next report was also all about Harry's romantic life. "What a Way to Harry On" was the title in the Daily Mirror on March 26th of 2009. Now, the judge claims, though, the report that Harry was openly cavorting with his new girlfriend, Astrid, in a hospitality box at Twickenham was lazy journalism. They were simply repeating information from the Press Association. But again, why did Harry's lawyers allow him to include this one? And you, what do you think about these Sussex divorce rumors? Do you think Meghan is getting ready to leave Harry if he goes back to his family? Let me know what you think below in the comments section. Again, if you've got time, please go over to the King Charles channel and report them again, so hopefully we can put an end to this nonsense once and for all. Thank you so much for your support. As always, if you enjoyed this video, don't hesitate to like and share with anybody else who would enjoy it too, and please don't forget to subscribe to Kate Middleton and the Queen. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great day, and I'll be back to see you in the next videos.